Today's AskReddit post, Africans of Reddit. What cultural differences separate your country from the rest of Africa? Oh boy, this is gonna be a good one. Let's get started. Answering this question is quite difficult because Africans, speaking as a Ugandan, don't usually have cultural practices that unify a country because there are many tribes that exist within a country that all have different practices. As a Ugandan, I identify as a Muganda from the central region of the country. In my region we have a king who is the head of the different clans. Different clans also have their own clan leaders. What would separate my region from other regions is the language we speak. It's called Luganda. We also have matok as our staple food, and our kingdom is one of the last ones standing as many were disintegrated by British colonial rule. As a Ugandan, what is close to a cultural practice is that we greet people when we meet them before doing business with them. If I go to the shop to purchase items, I will first greet the shop attendant. If I report to work in the morning, it's kind of mandatory to greet my workmates as soon as I get in. This, however, is common practice in most African countries. What you have asked is a question I can take the whole day answering, because then I will have to get into regions, tribes, clans, chiefdoms and kingdoms. I have answered the easiest way I can. Well, we don't consider ourselves Africans and half the population keep debating if we are Arab or not. Egypt? Yes. Tanzanian here. Well, I've noticed that Tanzanians tend to be very quick to get personal with each other, and casual flirting is basically normal and an easygoing thing. After living in a few other countries, I just found that Tanzanians by nature have a more casual attitude to everything, with random strangers easily treating you as their own child or relative within minutes of meeting, and it being normal to flirt with random shopkeepers, attendants and conductors. It further helps that everyone speaks the same language. Culture and religion is not very strict and doesn't separate people too much. I grew up outside of Tanzania and moved back for a while as a teenager, and it blew me away at first how easygoing everything was. Living away from home now makes me miss how I could strike up fun and insightful conversations everywhere I go and always joke around and flirt with people I didn't even know. Genuinely helped a lot in getting over my social anxiety. From South Africa, we have a beach with penguins. Cute little waddlers. The penguins are nice as well. I don't know if this counts, but we are the music capital of Africa. Nigeria. Yep. 12 different official languages and nicknamed the Rainbow Nation due to the variety of races. As an additional bonus, the Rainbow Nation is one of the most racist of all African countries. Your skin is a half shade lighter than mine. I must kill your whole village. My wife is not allowed to eat on the same table as my father. Your coffin starts its trip from your house, and your nephews and kids have to do the heavy lifting and organizing. In-laws will block entrance with blanket until you pay toll for coffin to leave homestead. Why is your wife not allowed to sit at the same table as your father? My father already has a wife, and my wife is the youngest wife in family, therefore must eat on the floor or somewhere else. On top of that, during family functions she has to run around and do the hard work. Not having been colonized, hosting the political capital of Africa, having one of the oldest forms of Christianity and Judaism, having some of the continent's most beautiful women, and eating a flat pancake with tons of different stews as our national dish. Oh, we also are one of the few countries, if I am not mistaken, with an indigenous alphabet that is used in the country's primary language. Ethiopia, former Abyssinia, the last standing African kingdom. I couldn't have said it better myself. We don't think of ourselves as Africans, and any reference to African people we mean black African from the south. Egypt, Algeria, Morocco, North Africa, right? Bingo, Morocco. It's really hard to find differences between my country Algeria and both our neighbors Morocco and Tunisia. Our cultures collide in many aspects. Europeans even refer to us as North Africans or Maghrebins. This is interesting. I don't know much about Algeria, but when I visited Morocco my tour guide basically bitched about every one of Morocco's neighbors. I thought there must have been some significant cultural difference. We'll do some research into what the go is there now. There is the problem of the Sahara Desert hanging between Morocco and Algeria. I think this might explain parts of it, not all of it, but I get the feeling it's very important in Morocco. We've got folks of several different ethnicity living together with a Hindu majority. Only country in Africa I believe. Mauritius? Rip dodo birds. Zimbabwean here. That is a difficult question because the colonizers bunched up different kingdoms irrespective of their political boundaries. Zimbabwe and South Africa are legally separated by the Limpopo River. However, the Venda Kingdom occupied that region and we now have a situation where families suddenly found themselves separated by the political boundaries which they never knew existed. The same holds true for Botswana and Zimbabwe, where the Botswana and Kalanga speaking people exist on both sides of the border. Same thing with Zimbabwe and Zambia, where the Tonga exist on either side. Again, the same phenomena exists between Mozambique and Zimbabwe, where the Ndor Kingdom doesn't respect the imaginary lines put in place by the Berlin Conference. The same holds true for all Southern and East African countries I know of. Hence it becomes hard to distinguish along cultural differences, because our nation states are a melting pot of varied cultures. Till, like 4 countries in Africa use Reddit, and South Africa dwarfs the other 3. Feel our power. I'm from 2 African countries. The first is that we have the most amazing ability to turn literally anything into a joke, no matter how painful. The second is how strong and stubborn we are as a people. Applies to both countries. Definitely South Africa. Within minutes of something happening, people have already made jokes and memes. And also your username. Makes sense that D'Antwoord came from there then. Brian LOL. We only have one culture. Wars. Boers? Some alien through my mum here. We have nicknames for everyone. One of my favorite one is the nickname we have for presidents. Big forehead, big head, that is literally what we call them. Instead of president or prime minister. My mum doesn't see the funny side to it, but I do. We even had a cripple we used to call him lazy legs. Gay marriage. Party popper. We have it. South Africa. This post needs a serious tag. Honestly, the amount of serious responses anyway kind of makes it moot. Why doesn't anyone actually specify which country they are talking about in replies? D. Because it's a fun little puzzle for the reader. And which country it is will usually be specified in someone's reply for those who don't want to play. Ghana. Uber is available here since one of the execs of the company is Ghanaian. Also, our funerals are a really elaborate party, as shown in that meme. From an European. Thanks for the meme. We are the Pearl of Africa. Uganda. Yes, we are boss. We had pharaohs, ancient temples, pyramids and used hieroglyphs. No, it's not Egypt. Hello Sudan. EBNL now. We used English letters and numbers to speak Arabic. Bro, that's so cool. Which country are you talking about? Egypt. Most of my countrymen are white. Tunisia, Morocco. The beautiful legs of Afrikaans men. I suddenly feel better about my legs. South African here. We were the first country to have 7 colors on our flag. Also, we have like 11 official languages. Well, we have a mountain that is flat. 11 languages. Our Braai culture is unique. We are proud of our heritage. South Africa. Hardly any covered. Madagascar. The answer has to be Madagascar. Been playing too much Plague Inc. This question is a bit difficult to answer because each country is made up of hundreds of tribes, each with their own language and culture. Kenya is home to 46 tribes. My country is known as the home of Gengetone, a whole new genre in music. The origin of Sheng, a mixture of English, Kiswahili and local languages. A beautiful coastline and a public transport system that's actually privately owned and has the sickest graffiti and drawings on the buses and vans called Matatu in Kiswahili. Owing to the South Sudan civil war and perpetual instability in Somalia, lots of refugees have come to Kenya and have integrated in society, increasing our diversity. I'm originally Somali, or thriving Somali community in the business district of Eastleigh is a huge contributor to Nairobi's GDP. And we're the only country in the world with a national park smack in the middle of our capital city. I'm not from Africa, but I have a question. Who makes the best biltong? South Africa. OFC. Well, poop, I'm a bit late, but screw it. Our country Ghana is divided into various tribes and ethnic groups, so it's very difficult to get a generalization of our culture and people. But going by majority, it's disrespectful to take something from someone with your left hand. Since it's considered a dirty hand. Women of the family, especially grandmas, are treated with great respect, even though they spend their time in the house taking care of children. That's considered an honorable job since traditional it's encouraged to birth a crap ton of children. They are valued for the good moral lessons they teach us and the wisdom they possess. They also play a major role in decision making. Another thing I'd say is our tolerance for religions and other ethnic groups. I'd say it's widely due to inter-ethnic marriages and our boarding school system. I'd say our food is pretty great, especially our jollof. Way better than our Nigerian brothers, that's for sure. A funny stereotype is that I'm half Russian and half Ghanaian, and my mom is mistaken as Chinese. In fact, most Asians except maybe Indians are seen as white people, which is funny. Oh, and also, the coffin dance is from our country, which proves we have a right to show superiority to all living organisms, including aliens. Going to plug our global talk here. We somehow all live in Finsbury Park. More civilized than America currently. Not an incredibly high hurdle to clear. As an Igbo from Nigeria, I don't really know, to be honest. There aren't really any practices held unanimously by a whole country because there are so many different groups there. People often ask me if I speak Nigerian, but that's a dumb question because there are 3 major, and hundreds of minor, languages in Nigeria, and most African countries are bound together by arbitrary legal boundaries rather than actual cultural similarities. Yes, I speak a little Igbo, which is the language of my ethnic group in the south, but I have nearly no grasp of Hausa and Yoruba, the other 2 major languages, not to speak of Efik, Ibibio, Tiv, Fulani, and on and on and on. In reality, differences in culture can vary so widely that I, as a Christian in the South, am honestly risking my life if I were to go to the majority Muslim North and openly practice. TLDR, this is the wrong question to ask. Instead, ask what differences separate your ethnic group from others. Biltong. I think people need to realize that other than poverty, no African county is homogeneous to another. Very little similarities in any other aspects. I believe that was the point of this post, to show that the countries are wildly different. The part about the rest of Africa showed me that the poster thinks there is a oneness of mind and lifestyle in Africa. We were the 5th country in the world to legalize gay marriage. Rainbow Nation in multiple ways. We have tons of historic monuments, including 3 pyramids. People often have no idea we're an African nation. Fun fact, we had our first ever democratic election but then supported a military coup to oust the elected president. Pirates. Somalia? Ding ding ding. I think the Sudanese culture is unique and that you can see parts of East African culture, North African, and Central African in it, almost like the center of a Venn diagram with different African countries that surround us. We're having a civil war over which European languages are superior. Cameroon. We are named after a stereotype. Chad, flag of Chad. Dear North Africans and Ethiopians, you are Africans. Fact. We call ourselves Habesha. Somali American here. I don't know if anyone has already mentioned this, but Somalis can be very trusting of each other, which is ironic considering our 3-decade civil war, especially with our concept of hagbard. For those who don't know what hagbard is, it's a type of rotational lending amongst a group of people. Each person pitches in what they can, and month by month, the collected money is given to an individual in the group, and you're putting in like hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars. Someone could easily pull a scam and run with them money, but it doesn't happen, strangely enough. Hagbard is a very common practice. I haven't heard of any culture practicing this outside of Somalia. This is an interesting question. As an Eritrean, I feel that Africans have more similarities than differences. But I'll say this. When Eritrea was in a war with Ethiopia, we had several women enlisted as fighters. I think this slightly changed the dynamic of how women in Eritrea are viewed, in a positive way. Women were slinging rifles and breastfeeding at the same time. Eritrea also has a strong sense of nationalism when compared to other African countries, in my opinion, due to the outcome of becoming independent in the 90s and being an underdog. But truthfully, I instantly bond with almost every African I come across because we are more alike than different. Respect and acknowledgement is often displayed between two Africans, regardless of where you're from in Africa. Net die Afrikaners zal mij nou verstaan. Ik spreek Nederlands en ik gaan je heel goed verstaan. In Kenya, we love making businesses. That's it. I don't think we have any serious cultural differences except finish marathons in minutes. Bro, you actually watched the whole video. I'd give you a high five if I was a human. Make sure to click the like button and subscribe for more great content. See you next time.